Hello, welcome to the podcast, to the Gritty Mamas podcast, a Jeppson
There
production.
we go. There we go.
We've got Carly in the house wearing her Gritty Mamas hat.
Yeah, I'm trying out tonight.
Yeah, it looks really good. We're here at Sundara Medical, where it is your one-stop shop for aesthetics, wellness, and primary care. Getting excited for the event coming up here on May 9th.
There's exciting stuff happening.
Yeah. So on May 9th, we are going to have an event here. I don't know if they've had any events yet here, but it might be their first. I've got like 85 women signed up. I've got some legislators coming. I think a senator. I was like, what? I know. And then like the Utah Single Mothers Coalition, they want to come. And I was like, why? She's like, well, we just want people to know these
who
mothers,
they are.
well, yeah, and like what their rights are and what laws have been passed so that they know, what's available to them. Like, for example, if you're behind $35,000 in child support, then you can get your driver's license taken away.
Did that law pass?
It did.
Through both?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. The House and the Senate. So usually they go into effect like May 1st. Somebody might be in trouble.
I mean, I would venture to guess a lot of somebodies will be in trouble.
Yeah. But the problem is you have to file the motion and then get the commissioner to be like, okay, yes, it is this much behind. Because when you're in a hearing, they might say, well, it's not really $35,000. He's only $18,000 behind. So you have to like file the motion and pay the money to enforce it.
Okay, and here's the other thing. Do you think that there's going to be some legal cause for saying, well, if you remove the driver's license, then he can't go to work, which means he can't get the money, so he'll always be behind. So judges will be like, well, in this case, we don't have to because of this. Like, there's always loopholes, is what I'm saying. Like, what loopholes exist is my question.
I don't know. Because, like, what other punishments are there? Like, I mean, they'll take passports. But like when I talked to the Office of Recovery Services, I said, at what point do you start to enforce? Like, when do you guys do something? Mm-hmm. And the first time I talked to them, they were like, well, it depends on how new your case is. I was like, so mine's like a year and a half. Is that not new, old enough? She's like, and it depends on how far behind they are. I was like, well, he's like, maybe at the time it was like 30,000. And I was like, well, does it have to, how much more does it have to be behind before you guys act? So, and then I called again, and she's like, yeah, we have moved past just basic enforcement. Basic enforcement is calling them, look, at least make some sort of payment, at least show some effort. And she's like, but we've moved to escalating enforcement. She's like, I think there was like 3 tiers of enforcement.
So that's a new system is what you're saying?
No, I don't think so. It's not new. It's just...
are you saying in your case specifically they've moved to that? Or are you saying yes? I think
they do that with everyone. Okay. Once like he hasn't responded or he's not making payments, now they've gone from basic enforcement to escalating enforcement. Okay. I was like, okay, so what happens like on the second round, like this more severe, which is the escalating? She's like, well, then we file a motion against him along like in attack or like together with the state. Like a motion to enforce. But it's coming from ORS this time. And they have their
ORS stands for
Office of Recovery Services. Okay. They're the ones who garnish wages. So
but here's the other thing.
You can't garnish his wages.
If you're self-employed. Yeah. Then what?
Then you can't garnish. So it's racking up, and he pays ORS. And then ORS will direct deposit into my account with a fee. So I think they charge him a fee to pay, and they charge me a fee to receive, which is so annoying. Yeah. So if he pays like $2,000, I'll get maybe $1,900. So it's like $100.
Yeah, that's like a large amount. Is that normal?
Is that like? So. And it's different every time. So at least the fee.
Is it high conflict divorces that go that way? Like, do all divorcees pay each other that way?
No, it's just remember because he's self-employed.
Okay.
And so
it's more of a self-employment thing.
Well, I filed or applied with ORS because I was like, I need the church to have legal documentation. I need, I just needed it to not be my spreadsheet that I filled out.
Right. You kind of need somebody to back you up. Like, you're not this crazy ex that's just spewing crap. Like, this is real. This is what's actually happening. Yeah, it makes sense.
So I was like, I'm going to have the state like keep track of it.
Yeah.
And whether our numbers are severely off or go by theirs, that's fine. You know, because they don't track extracurriculars or anything like that. But so they track that. And
because extracurriculars and like medical bills and things like that, you're supposed to split 50-50, right? In addition to whatever the court has ordered for its monthly payments.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And on top of that, he's supposed to pay royalties monthly. That was agreed upon or stipulated to.
Can you see the royalties?
Not now.
Okay.
But like, I still get, well, maybe I won't announce that on the podcast, but there's some things that I still see from Sony. But I don't see the royalty money. So it's just all just keeps racking up, and that will follow him.
You can't declare bankruptcy and have your,
or I think you can, but
it
doesn't
doesn't have your arrears from your family court stuff.
Yeah.
I think people file bankruptcy to get out of other legal troubles, other debts, and what do you call it? Like lawsuits and stuff.
Yeah.
You file
so
bankruptcy there.
you could file bankruptcy, but the child support, or that will follow him, and same with your taxes. That follows you too.
Okay.
So how did we get on this? ORS and payments? I don't
have a clue in the world.
How we got here. Anyway, at the end of the day, he has to pay ORS because I applied so that they could track it. And then he receives notice, like, you are ordered to pay through ORS. Like, at first, he was just paying through Venmo.
Okay.
And that was fine, but...
But nobody's tracking it but you.
Yeah, no one was tracking it but me. And I was like, no, I'm good enough. Like, I can do it, but I need it to be more legitimate.
Yeah, you want to feel like there's somebody backing you.
Yeah, and anytime the church was like, well, how far behind is he? Well, is he really, or did you just, and so I was like, here it is. See it for yourself. They're tracking it. So anyway, I don't know how we got to that topic, but let's get on to another conversation. Back to the event here. We're going to have, that's what I was saying before. There's about 85 women coming. We've got gift cards to Sundara for aesthetics. We have gift cards to tanning beds. We have Minky Couture donating blankets.
Don't we have hats?
We've got hats. We've got The Chocolate, which is a cute little bakery, donating some cookies. We've got Salt Lick Catering coming. And then Dana and Leah are going to be speaking on coercive control and manipulation and domestic violence and domestic abuse. I'm going to have an attorney there, mine specifically, to answer legal questions. And then...
Has he already said for sure he's a go?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then Whitney, and her team will be there to talk about the different therapies and primary care that they offer here, like the stellate ganglion block and ketamine, if that's your thing. And what else do they do? Like mental health. And
she was talking about GLP-1 stuff too.
Do they do that here?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's getting exciting, and I kind of need to get more into the planning stage, but I'm really tired, Carly. It's 10:15. I'm so tired right now. It's 10:15 on a Monday night. You'll be hearing this podcast hopefully 1 week from today, as long as we can get it out in time. But
we are post spring break.
And that's what I was going to say. It was a rough week. And I am so tired from it. And you can hear it in my voice. You can see it in my eyes. I think like every day just blended into the next. Like felt like one big long day. We had dogs in and out that we were watching. We were dealing with Sandy City and animal control, dealing with the next door neighbor, and then kids that were home and bored all day long. Family was in Hawaii and in California and in Arizona. And then my kids resent me because we were at home.
Working.
Yeah. Working. Picking up dog crap, like making sure.
Cleaning the house.
Yes.
Keeping.
And when they wet in the house, or they've pooped in the house, or barfed in the house, like my kids were hating life. you know, and you want to say, I never went anywhere during spring break when I was a kid. They don't care, you know? So I guess it brings me to, it was kind of an emotionally charged week because of a certain post.
Oh, yeah.
That was posted.
Are we talking about that?
We're going to talk about it because I want to get into the comments a little bit on there.
I had like 5 people send it to me.
Interesting. So if you have not seen, we had general conference the first weekend of April, and there's a lot of people that go downtown to the Temple Square.
Yeah, if people listening are not LDS, I know we've had a few comments. Julie says people say our podcast is too religious, which makes me laugh, but because I've listened to a lot of actual religious podcasts.
Yeah.
This is not that. But our church, our faith tradition, every 6 months congregates in the same place. Like our church has small congregations. We have units of 300 and 400 people all over the world, and we follow the same curriculum every week, and we do everything the same, but we don't all like meet in a big mega church, right? Yeah. So every 6 months, this is probably our version of that, where we have a huge conference center and we meet together with everybody that we revere and love and take counsel from. We have, it's called General Conference because all of the prophet and the apostles and people that we really revere. I don't know how else to say it. Like,
well, we had a new prophet sustained and new leaders sustained.
It's like getting a new pope.
Yeah.
So we had a solemn assembly, which is it's an occasional thing. It's very rare every time you get a new prophet, which is not that often, you know, just like with a pope. So it was a big deal.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people, thousands going in and out of the conference center all day on Saturday, all day on Sunday. So the petitioner decided to, I mean, every conference there are protesters outside. They're holding posters saying, you know, this is the real Jesus, or this is.
I remember going as a kid, coming from Seattle, right?
Yeah.
And seeing these pictures of unborn babies. They will say fetuses, right? I hate that word like so much. It's a baby. Okay. We're going to call it a baby. And saying stuff about abortion. And I'd be like, I'm real confused because we are not pro-abortion. Like, I don't understand if these people are thinking that, because they'll say, except for in times of rape or incest or, you know, anyway, like mother's life stuff, right? But that's like fairly not controversial. So I'd get there and I'd see these horrible posters and protesters, and I was so confused. Like, what are you protesting? You're protesting the wrong people. And often I see their signs and I'm like, I just don't think you understand what we believe.
Yeah, and they're yelling and screaming, and some of them are friendly, and
some of them are kind, some of them are not.
Yeah, so they're kind of just all over the place on the corners, stopping people, or at least in the line of fire of people walking in and out the traffic. And so the petitioner and his little team of people decide to dress up in 1820s attire, Hamilton style, and go and sing about his musical that he is trying to put together called The King of New York. And I'm like,
what?
The King of New York is my man Denton from Newsies.
Yeah.
If you like
Newsies. You better make sure that's not trademarked somewhere.
I know. So he starts to not protest the protesters, but almost match their energy.
I think he was trying to drown them out.
Yes, yes. So, you know, great. That's just great. That he's doing it with, you know, intention and
fighting fire with fire, maybe in their head. Because it wasn't just him. It was like a
10
whole orchestra.
Yeah.
Right. And they brought speakers, which, as I read, the protesters went and got the cops because they didn't like the speakers. So they had to turn the speakers off.
The petitioner did?
No, the actual protesters, the petitioner had speakers, and the protesters got pissed. So they go to the cops, and the cops are like, you can't have speakers here.
That's what I'm saying. So the petitioner had to turn the speakers off?
Yes, they had to a cappella. That's what I read. I wasn't there. I didn't even like.
Well, but he had like horns, like full blown tubas or horns in the background or something.
They had instruments, and
I mean, that's what they tell you in the Bible Belt when you're a missionary, to not argue.
No Bible bashing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's basically what they were doing, but with music, you know, and they're dressed in the attire. And it was just kind of, I don't know, I want to say immature, I think, to me. But I ended up getting...
I thought it was attention seeking.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
It was convenient. It felt convenient.
Well, I know exactly what he was thinking. He was like, I'm going to go. I'm I'm going to promote my new musical, but I'm going to do it in a way that, is with love and with, preaching about Joseph Smith to these protesters. And it was for marketing is what it was for.
That's what it felt like to me the second I saw it.
All I could think of was if we had still been married, I would have been at home with all of the kids trying to watch conference and trying to help the kids and make the lunches while he was doing that. Mm-hmm. And that kind of stuff never materialized into anything. So I got tired of the sacrifices that I was making at home when the sacrifices that he was making never amounted to like anything, if that makes sense. Like one time he went to Brazil for 2 weeks to shoot music videos and to be in Carnival, and he would say to me, what's the word, embellish or exaggerate, like, this is huge, this is gonna, it was always very exaggerated, this is gonna make millions, this is gonna be a hit song. And then after 2 weeks, like, I was working for 2 weeks, as a homemaker, also doing jobs. And then after the 2 weeks, he'd come home, but nothing materialized. I was like, dude, I'm working too. I'm working 2 weeks while you just vacationed, basically. But I couldn't say that, So anyway, it just like...
When you say the sacrifices that he was making, what sacrifices did he make?
Well, that's just it. Like, he would say, this is for our family. I'm going to go and make these music videos, or I'm going to go and write these songs with these people, and it's going to become something. It's going to make something later. And I was always like, okay.
But what is he sacrificing in the process? My point is this. Maybe he thinks he's sacrificing time with his family, but like partying in Brazil doesn't seem like a sacrifice.
That's what I'm saying.
Not having to have like a full-time job because your wife is doing everything. That doesn't seem like a sacrifice. Like, I'm trying to rack my brain to see what was he sacrificing other than his marriage and his family. Because, I mean, yeah, there's always a sacrifice, because one of my favorite sayings is, if you say yes to this, you're saying no to something else, and vice versa, right? Like, you only have so much time, you only have so many resources, whatever, right? So he was saying yes to some things and having to say no to very important things.
Well, it's like when he went to American Idol,
Were you there?
No, but we were married though, with a baby, I think.
Yeah.
He so badly was convinced, I think he was manifesting, that he could get onto the show, even though they had an age limit. And I think he was 36 or 37, maybe 38, and I think the age limit was 30 or 28. I can't even remember.
Really? Okay.
That later changed, but he wanted to go. I was like, you can't audition. Like, you're too old. I think he thought that he was going to get through because he went and waited in line. But meanwhile, I'm at home with a bunch of little kids, But he would hype it up so much, like, that I had to be supportive. Or I felt like I needed to be.
I was talking to James on our weekend away. We're driving around a ton.
By the way, pause. Don't forget what you're going to say. Carly just turned the big 40, people, and I feel so bad. I didn't even wish her happy birthday. I didn't even know it was her birthday yesterday.
I didn't want to make a big deal out of it.
It's a big deal turning 40.
It is, but like, the older I get, the less attention I like, And so it's like literally, so my next door neighbor and I are like almost exactly a week apart. And her husband threw like this big surprise party, and it was incredible. And my husband was like, "Are you sure you don't want anything?" And I was like, "No, I want to get out of here. I don't want to like."
Where did you guys go?
We just went to Eden.
But with your family?
Before that, so James wanted to disappear for like 10 days. He's like, "It's your 40th birthday. Let's go to like Europe or whatever." And I was like, "I will feel like the worst mom ever if I leave our kids for spring break. Like, what? No, I'm not going to do that." And so
you're going to plan it for later then.
Yeah. Well, we took the weekend. So we took like Monday through Thursday. I went to St. George, and then Friday through Sunday, he and I just took to Eden.
I didn't know it was just the two of you. And not once did you say, "It's for my birthday." You stinker. Gosh.
I don't know.
She's like, "It was my birthday yesterday." I was like, "What? I'm a terrible friend. I had no idea."
But that's the thing, is I hate stressing people out. Like, it's not, I don't want people to have to like figure in their day.
And we didn't even Marco Polo, so I didn't have the reminder on Marco Polo. I am
'cause
so
it was spring
sorry.
break.
I feel like such a jerk.
If I wanted or needed it, I would be like, guys, it's my birthday in 10 days, in 9 days, in 8 days. I expect you all to show up with pleasantries and a present.
That's right.
Like, no,
Oh my gosh.
And really, my birthday is always somewhere around spring break, somewhere around Easter. This year it all hit and collided, and it was like, my birthday is the least important thing. I've got a kid I'm sending on a mission. I've got
yeah, but it's a big one.
No.
Tell us in the comments. I know you agree with me.
We're 29, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Forever. You and I are 29. When we hit about, like when we can't keep our hair from looking gray, we'll be 39.
Yeah.
Until then, we're 29.
Amen.
We're just going to
Okay, and so you were telling me, you were talking to James.
Yes. So James and I were talking about, you had texted me. I'm trying to think of what exactly you were texting. But I just said, Julie will even say on the podcast, she feels dumb for not seeing this sooner and not, listening to the advice of her parents or whatever, right? And James is like, well, here's the thing. So James is also in business, right? And so my best friend will say that, I guess I have to back up to explain this. So there's two types of humans is what she'll say. There's the subhuman and the superhuman. The superhuman people are like, I got this. I can do anything. They're confident. And they're like, I'll figure it out. Mark is superhuman. Yeah. Mark, who does all of this for us, you guys. But then there are some people who are subhuman. And I would put James in the subhuman where I'm like, dude, I can market the crap out of you. I could find you an awesome job. You don't have to be working for the man. You could be a CEO in some company or whatever. He's like overly educated and super, super smart, but he doesn't see it in himself. He's more subhuman, right? But he's in this business world. And he was like, Julie had to, if you're falling in love with somebody or if you're marrying somebody who is a dreamer, who is a superhuman dreamer, who has an entertainment career, you either have to go all in and believe so hard and go hard with him, or you can't do it at all. Like the only choice that you had
was to support.
Not just to support, but to believe in it with him, right? Like and you did it for so, so long. But I think that's like when things started to shift was it 6 kids, 7 kids? Like at what point we were like, I'm going to lose my mind. I am raising kids by myself and trying to support you. And like at some point you started to be like, that's not reality now.
The thing is though, Carly, you say, you felt dumb. Why didn't you see this? Like I did see things. I just never would have left.
Well, it was too late though. The point is like at the beginning. It was too late
the day I got married though.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you'd already
made those
committed,
covenants,
right?
Yeah.
So from that commitment that you had, from that point on, your only choice was to go full throttle, to believe it all, to live in that dream, to believe in the manifesting, to see his vision, because what's the alternative?
Yeah. Right?
And so you have to be, I think that you should be proud of yourself that you jumped in so hard for so long. I wouldn't have made it past 2 kids.
I look at myself and I'm like, I did manage and handle that, but also I had a choice, but I never would have left. So yeah, I kept going and I kept pushing and I kept believing. And that's what's so ironic is he's the one that left. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's comical. He is the one that left. I just read something today or heard something on Instagram today. I hope I can remember what she said. She was like, 80% of women initiate divorce. Wah, wah, wah. Like people are like, well, 80% of women are the ones that do it. Yeah, well, 80% of women, 100% of women, whatever, are the ones who initiate making school lunch. 80% of women initiate getting life insurance. 80% of women initiate going to parent-teacher conference. So it's like, I can't even remember where my point is from here, but it's the women who are doing it. And I was like, but he's the one that left. It's ironic because I never would have left. And I had another friend who went through something similar say to me that, because there's guilt, there's still guilt and these feelings of failure.
Always wonder what if.
Yeah.
What would have happened if I had done it this way or not done it that way or whatever.
But he said, Julie, this is the way like kind of like God has released you from that covenant. Like released you from, almost that tie, that bond, like it's broken and it's not your fault. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to feel guilty for it because you would have stayed, and he knows that. Mm-hmm. Like no matter what, because I made that covenant and I'm going to stick to my promises. Good grief, the ones that I made before God, I'm going to keep those promises. Mm-hmm. And so when I said, please, like, let's work on this, he flat out said no. And he said the words, I'm not there anymore. And I was like, I just could not fathom those words after you are covenanting before God, angels and witnesses, you know, and family and friends, and most importantly, that it's an eternal marriage, as far as we believe.
It's not done on a whim.
No. And so when he was like, I'm just not there anymore, I'm like, it's just like that? You're just not there? Well, let's go to counseling. No. Well, can we just try? No. I still think about it, and I'm like, anyway, it's how he's like lived his life, in and out and just kind of running here and there and escaping or fleeing the scene, you know, whenever there's conflict.
Trying something new, seeing how it fits. I like it, I don't. I stay, I don't. It's not. And this time it had a lot of people involved.
Yeah.
That's what's wild to me.
It is. It is.
To shirk that responsibility.
So back to the musical Joseph Smith oratorio that he's doing at Temple Square.
He's basically trying to make Joseph Smith Hamilton.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. He's trying to talk about Joseph Smith freeing the slaves and trying to become the president of the United States, and you know, trying to market his musical that he's sure he's going to make. And I get a message, a Facebook Messenger message from some guy who sends me the link from BYU Idaho Scroll. And I was like, what the heck is this? And then the comments just are going crazy. And I think that's kind of what I wanted to talk about for a minute tonight, is that so many people are, you know, some of them were supportive of me and others were harsh, saying...
Well, the stupid people who posted it deleted all of the comments that were on your side of it.
Yes, but even the ones that are on my side are harsh.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I won't lie, because it kind of makes me chuckle a little bit.
I think it's relieving to know that
it's validating. Yeah, people
somebody sees your perspective. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So there's lots of deadbeat. Why don't you go home and help your family? Why don't you pay child support already? And then there's so many that fire back and say, "Judge not, lest ye be judged."
That stuff gets me so mad.
Oh, yeah. We have no idea about his private life. And I usually don't comment. I read them, but I'm like, I'm not going to engage, but I engaged. I was fired up from having a full-blown week and a half, because people had spring break the week before. Uh-huh. So I had 2 weeks of in and out.
Dogs.
Yes. Dirt from their paws all over me. I mean, I'm not complaining, because I was able to pay the bills for the month, but I was tired. Mm-hmm. When one dog barks, they all bark. I couldn't go to bed at night until...
It's really hard work.
It is hard work. And the food and the cleanup. And if one's aggressive, I've got to keep that one away from the rest of the pack and separate the little ones from the big ones. And not to mention, my dog was in heat.
Oh, my gosh.
So
the timing could not have been worse.
It was so bad. And she was just getting violated. So I was like, oh, my gosh. And this is TMI, but I was like feeling all the crotches of the boys. I'm like, okay, yes, he's neutered. What about this guy? He's neutered.
Oh my gosh.
Because I didn't have time to go into the app and like look at the health history. Is he neutered?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, most of them are, but I was like, I'm going to take her to my sister's house and just put her in the backyard, and I'll go pick her up at the end of the day. I left out some water and food, and she escaped their yard. So then I've got animal control calling me because some neighbor picked her up. Anyway, so I was already exhausted, and the period had come. And my kids are all fighting because they're sick of being at home. We don't have any money to go to a movie or do anything. And they're bugged at me because all their cousins are, you know, traveling luxuriously, which I'm so happy for. We just can't do it.
They see on social media. It's not just your friends and your family. It's like, it feels like the whole world is doing something but you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I saw another Instagram post where this girl's like, can we just go back to spring break where you go and play outside? She's like, now kids are going to Italy for spring break.
Good heavens.
I'm like Maldives or Maldives, whatever. Islands, Maldives. and I'm just like, yes, seriously, because I didn't go anywhere over spring break. So I was already fired up because I was like, and now he's downtown singing a little rap song about Joseph Smith while we are suffering. And it just made me mad. So I finally engaged, and I just said, like one of the comments when they were like, this is his private life, and this is between no one else but him, her, and the Savior. And I was like, oh, this is not his private life. This is his very public life. He decided to make this public when he displayed on social media that he was separating and made it look like it was mutual and amicable. And I can assure you, it is plastered all over social media and all over public records. So no, this is not his private life. And then I'd scroll down to the next comment. Judge not. We're all, how ironic and how twisted is it that we're all at General Conference learning about loving our neighbor and loving one another, and we're judging this man. And I said, yeah, we're taught to judge righteously and judge between truth and error and between right and wrong. Like, I'm so tired of hearing, don't judge him, don't judge me. Like, we're supposed to judge.
We are absolutely supposed to judge. There's a scripture that talks about knowing somebody by their fruits. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if you are a member of our church or another church. I mean, people will use the same scripture against us, talking about false prophets, because they think that our prophets are false prophets. But the point is the same. You know people by their fruits, right? Why would you talk about that if you're not supposed to judge? Because that's indicating that you have to judge somebody's fruit. What is the outcome of their choices, right? And I'm pretty sure we've talked about this on the podcast before, but if you don't judge, because don't you remember, I think we were talking about my dad's, how he will talk about like tactical judgment.
Yeah, we
right?
did talk about that.
Yeah, so it's like, if you don't judge, how do you decide what doctor to go to? How do you decide what lawyer to take your case? How do you decide who your kids should be friends with? Should you just let Adana date whoever the hell she wants because they think she's pretty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Like, you don't get to condemn, but you sure as hell get to judge. And I think part of why we've kind of lost ourselves in society a little bit is because of that phrase, don't judge, judge not. Okay, condemn not. Mm-hmm. But you absolutely do get to judge. And I mean, how you decide to vocalize it or write about it or display your judgment, we could argue about that, right? We could argue about what righteous judgment looks like. But for people, the comment that really got me was somebody that was saying, well, just because somebody is all over social media making him out to be the bad guy doesn't mean that it's true. Mm-hmm. And I mean, yeah, that's a true comment. That's absolutely true. But just because I'm as close to it as I am, I feel like I've believed that my whole life. There's always more sides to this story. Absolutely. But I think in trying to do this podcast and in trying to be for so long, I was pulling at your pant leg saying, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. And it's like, it felt like it's all for naught, right? It's like, oh, you want to know the real truth? We haven't even begun to tell you the real truth. Like they say there's two sides to every story. They say like, give him a break or whatever. And it's like, we have been. Mm-hmm. We have absolutely given him so many benefits of so many doubts. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about, the absentee stuff. We haven't been talking about the details of money. We haven't, there's so much ammo.
Or the trial just itself. And I want to get to that because people want to know what happened at trial, and I haven't even touched it yet because I was still like, we have to be cautious.
Yeah.
They can file defamation. And I'm like, what the heck? But none of this is false. The things that I'm saying are facts.
Right.
That I can back up with documentation like ORS.
Yeah. You still don't want to have more legal fees. Yeah. And like the thing that James, when we first started talking about this, he was like, why do you have to even talk about him at all? Which is how we started talking about the petitioner, right? Instead of even using his name. Mm-hmm. Because Gritty Mamas should not be about him.
No.
But he is part of your story, right?
Yeah.
And so trying to be classy and trying to, we've never wanted to come across as the bitter, angry ex, mm-hmm. right? And for your story to be believable, you can't come across that way, right? And so we've tried so hard to be classy and to err on the side of caution. And I just, in that moment, it enraged me because I was like, you're giving him the benefit of the doubt. What about the one stuck with the 8 kids?
Yeah. And is when they talk about forgiveness.
Oh, that comment too.
I just am like, no. And I just straight up said in my stories, no, I have not forgiven.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's easy to forgive a one-time event. Okay? I mean, I don't want to say easy, and it depends on the event. But when the same person continues to permeate every open air vent in your house and in your life, any way that you can be violated, they continue to be able to violate that. Your safety, your trust, your finances, like your relationships with your kids, like everything that can be messed with is messed with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And it's like, whether it's something he didn't do or he did do, or something that happened on social media or whatever, his choices affect your house every freaking day. Yeah. And so when they're like, forgive him, it's like, okay, well, I did. And I know it's 70 times 7, but like, I'm pretty sure I'm past that. Like 7 times 7, yes, I know this. It's symbolic. It means endless. And I know that. But it's like, it is endless. And they can't ask you to forgive so quickly what happened literally minutes before the comment or days before or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, you can work on forgiving him for leaving or for announcing it on social media or for, choose one thing. You can work to forgive him for that. But there's about 150,000 other things.
I know.
So
that's why I kept saying, how do you forgive someone when they're still shoving the sword in your chest?
Yes.
And twisting it. You know? It's like still shoved in.
And then making you feel bad for talking about it. And like guilt tripping you and gaslighting you as though you're doing like, one of your commenters, it was like, just using men for, I'm tired of your neighbor and I'm tired of the petitioner because you're just using them for content. I'm like, do you really think that Julie needs help making content? Of all the things happening in your life, you've got kids and all these sports, and you've got the dog stuff, and you've got 8 kids, and you've got the house, you've got all sorts of stuff that you can make content about. Yeah. You don't need these men to give you content. That's the dumbest thing.
Then they think that it's all for money. You're just trying to get money.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay. Where's the money then?
34 cents off of,
Where's the money?
Yeah.
Come on.
Gosh.
I go back to that friend of mine that I've talked about before when she heard that I was going to help you. She's like, she's probably living in a $4 million house in Alpine. And
I don't know what makes people think that.
Remember when you talk about how you'd have the side salad and he'd have the $90 fish, and he knows how to live in a way that other people believe it.
But do they think that it's just because YouTubers are all rich? Because they're not.
People if you're not into it, if you're not a YouTuber yourself, you don't understand where the money comes from. You don't know how people do it. You don't know that some people are backed by expensive donors, or that some people read 1,000 comments, or whatever it is, right? Like, you don't understand how it works.
Or is it because they think that, because he's been on TV and the outfits that he wears. And
when you posted that picture of him dating, just the coat he was wearing, it makes it look like he is rolling in it, right? And then the places that there are pictures of him in like a giant spa or something, some guy's night and at clubs and all this stuff. And it's like, he lives and appears like he has money.
Well, and he's spending money on dates.
So the world thinks he has money. Yeah.
And so did the attorneys.
And you would think that by default, that means you have money.
Yeah.
And it's just
and
not
that's
true.
Another comment. I'm glad it came back to my brain. But when people are like, you guys are just damaging her more by these negative comments and hurting the very bread and butter that they're trying to receive by him working. And I'm like, no, we're past that. Like, you could have said that maybe 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when he was making a crap ton of money doing all these presentations at schools on his I Am a 10 project. He was making a lot of money. And I know this because I subpoenaed everything. And saw the totals. And
that's public record too, isn't it?
I think so. I had a forensic accountant who totaled up 2022, 2023, 2024.
I sat through that at the trial.
Yeah. And so there was a report on that. And even while he was making, like, in 1 year, this did not include expenses, but I think it was 2023, $400,000. So even through those $400,000 that year, that big, humongous year for him, he was still paying me $2,000 a month.
For 9 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's where, so when Julie, months and months and months ago, when she would talk about woefully inequitable, that's where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to be more, what's the word?
Like cautious or
Yeah,
quiet?
yeah, like just prim and proper and as kind as we could be. So you didn't give out numbers or anything like that, but that's where the judge was like, this is woefully inequitable that he's living on all of this money and she's living on nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, $2,000, like, that gets you nowhere anymore.
And sometimes, so when they're like, you guys are hurting the very bread and butter, that he's providing by, don't support this fool, don't buy his albums, don't go to his concerts. Well, if you don't, then he can't pay her. I'm like, no, he wasn't anyway, even when he made all that money. Like that argument has come and shipped.
Yeah, that is, I mean, I think it is a good thought. I think, like ideally that should be a correct statement.
That's in the 98% of divorces. This is what's the 2% where you are struggling to survive and in a high conflict battle, legal bloodbath, where you are filing motion after motion. Currently, as we stand, he's quite hefty in the arrears. Mm-hmm. And so we've appealed, right? But my lawyer said, let's stay the appeal for right now, which means let's pause on it.
Oh, I haven't heard this part yet.
I think you have, because we talked about what it meant to stay something.
Oh, okay. So this is, I just hit the microphone. This is leading up to you writing that global offer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once we have stayed the appeal for now, we had to file the appeal just to get it on the record, because there's a deadline. And if you don't hit that, then you've lost your chance to appeal.
You don't get to appeal. Yeah.
So now that we've filed it, now he's like, okay, now at least it's on file. Now let's just stay the appeal. Let's just wait. And let's offer him a settlement and just say, hey, look, you can have all of your arrears wiped away, slate clean, in exchange for the house, which basically is about the same amount of equity. Mm-hmm. If that tells you anything with how far he is in the arrears, it equals his equity in the home. And there's been silence.
Nothing.
Won't respond. It's been a month. And so now we just move forward with the appeal, because we tried to give him the opportunity to be like, dude, you can have a clean slate. Just be done with all the arrears, which basically means that for the last 4 years, I've been buying my house from him, or buying him out of the house or whatever, but living in full-blown poverty to do it. But he just won't respond.
And that's what's so interesting, is how people can abuse the legal system, like has been done for you, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
it's like I said to Wes, one of my attorneys, I was like, well, Wes, if he's ghosting his own attorneys and he's ghosting us and not responding and following his same pattern of fleeing when he's in hot water, well, now what? And he's like, well, we can file a motion because we have with this appeal going forward, there's a mandated mediation. Mm-hmm. Before you go to an appeal, you have to mediate.
Go back to the
again.
mediator, yeah.
And he hasn't been responding or wanting to participate in that. And I'm like, so how do we get him to do it? So I have to file a motion to compel him to follow the court-ordered mediation. But I have to pay the money to file that motion. I mean...
Yeah, that's the Blake Lively. The only reason why Justin Baldoni was able to fight her, because, Ryan Reynolds has like billions, right? It's because his business partner was like, I got billions too, and I'll back you.
Wow.
So otherwise his name would have been ruined and people would have seen her as the victor, right? It's all about money. It's how much money do you have, right?
I remember my bishop saying it's the battle of attrition.
Yeah.
Who can wear out who the longer.
Yeah.
And it's true, because I am suffering financially. And speaking of that, I'm in the runnings for Supermom.
What is Supermom?
Somebody nominated me. I guess it's like a $20,000 giveaway, some luxurious vacation, and then you get to be on like the cover of some beauty magazine. So I was like, why not? Because I'm trying to think of any way that I can pay my attorneys.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just $1,000 here and $2,000 there and $500 here and trying to pay off the car that I had to get because the one he left us with went in the tank, and then the home repairs. Just everything in my house is falling apart. Windows, everything. And I'm like, what do I need to pay first? Like, what is, the top priority here? And I need to pay my lawyers at least monthly.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can get a big chunk of change to give to them to continue to fight for me, because lawyers drop people when they're not paying. I'm surprised they haven't dropped him.
Yeah.
It's puzzling to me, especially when he's ghosting them.
What would happen? Do you know what would happen if, like, let's say you go to the mediation, he doesn't show up, he's not paying his attorneys, the attorneys drop him, then what happens to your case?
I'm not sure. I think that they would still, if we filed a motion, it would probably just be mailed to his house and he's responsible for appearing on his own. Or,
what if he doesn't appear?
Well, you would think that he would be held in contempt, but he didn't appear at the last one. And they didn't care, but that's because he had counsel.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't have counsel there, then I think it's deeper trouble. But maybe not, because nothing has happened so far.
Oh my gosh.
But I just know that if you don't, the only reason he's even showed up for these, I was surprised he showed up at trial, because he has somebody that's reminding him where he needs to be, and that was always me. It was always me. So that's kind of the update. I'm still in the waiting, preparing for this party May 9th here at Sundara
Which is a light. I think that preparing for the party is a light
yeah.
in the tunnel of all of this.
Yeah, I need something to look forward to and where I feel like I am serving, because I've been served, in so many ways. And then it's the day before Mother's Day. Hopefully these women can feel loved and feel connected to so many of us. There's a woman coming. She's got an awesome page. She's going to jail in May.
What?
Or at least probably because her 15-year-old won't go to parent time. And you cannot force your 15-year-old son to go to parent time. So this certain commissioner has now taken away his privilege of driving and is sending mom to jail. So she'll be there.
The 15-year-old's driving?
Stopping
he
him from
can't
getting
get
a
his
permit.
license.
Yeah,
Okay.
license.
What?
Or maybe he's got his permit. I don't even know.
How do they not stop to wonder, is this dad abusive?
Because they think that all of us are accusing them to punish them. That's where alienation all came into play.
Well, I do know real women who have done it.
Yeah.
This is true since the beginning of time, is there will always be people who ruin it for
everybody
everybody
else.
else. There's always going to be somebody who says, oh, that looks like it'll get me what I want. I'm going to accuse my ex of something horrendous so I get everything he has and he has to go to jail. That's convenient. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it works. It's like cops. You got a bad cop, it ruins it for everybody.
Yeah.
99% of cops are good, and you get this one bad one, and now they're all screwed.
Yeah.
Everybody hates them.
Yeah.
It's that same thing. That's horrible. That she has to go. How long is she supposed to go to jail?
I don't know. Sometimes they have them go for 5 days. Other times you have to go every weekend for 6 weekends. It's just different. And
I hope this gets a lot of publicity. That's all I can say.
yeah, sometimes I wish that they would, or my kids know if I get handcuffed, I was like, film it. Because there would be outrage.
Well, the
Public
thing
outrage.
is, too, okay, what happens to the kids now?
Yeah.
Where do they go? You're punishing everybody.
They would go to dad's. At least her kids, her son. But at 15,
That kid's going to run away.
they do. Another friend, her kids, he wasn't allowed to be on the basketball team at school, and she wasn't allowed to drive. So on dad's parent time, they just disappeared, and they were staying with friends. And they would text their mom and just say, I'm safe. And so she'd have to tell the officers, I don't have any idea where they are.
That's crazy.
But how do you punish the mom when they run? And there's so many stories.
I feel like teenagers are teenagers, and they're horrible to their parents, right? That's a thing. I get that. But my alarm bells would be going off if there were kids who were going to that
Extreme
effort
Yeah.
to stay away from the dad. And I think I've told you before that there was a classmate of James whose wife kind of went crazy and left him. And the advice he got from this actually prominent church member, also in the business world, who you would least expect this to come from, he was like, I'm sorry, dude, but you got to just like get married again and have a new family and start over. And when those other kids are older, hope that you can have a relationship with them, because if your ex isn't playing ball, you're going to lose everything you have and more financially, and they're going to hate you, and it's going to be awful for them. It's going to be awful for you. Like, if you can't, he wasn't saying don't fight for your kids. He was saying this fight is getting crazy and you're going to lose no matter what. So just hope and pray that when they're older, they want a relationship with you. That's all you got left, because who wants that for their kid? It's like splitting the baby, right? It's that old adage of like the real mom isn't going to say, cut the baby in half.
Right.
The real mom's going to be like, no, I love that kid. Give it to that person. I don't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you see these situations, you're like, who is not seeing this clearly? Why can you not see this for what it is? Kids, I mean, it's like we talked about a while ago, how, the 4-year-old, the guardian ad litem is saying, well, the 4-year-old has been told to not like the dad and only like the mom. No, they're 4 years old.
Yeah.
How many 4-year-olds do I know that's like, I only like mom?
Right.
They choose a parent, they glob on.
Well, there's that new Instagram where they have both parents on the sides, and then they both look at their kid. Mm. And it's whoever she looks at first is who she loves the most. Oh. And it's half the time they're looking at their mom, or they're. That's silly. So what that parent's going to be accused of alienation, or that parent will accuse the other of alienation. I mean, that's family court.
It's just awful, because
just games and knowing how to play the game.
It's not what's better for the kids.
No.
It is not what's better for the kids. I think that's what it all comes down to for me, is like all those comments online and all this stuff, right? They can be critical of you all they want. They can judge and whatever. But like, do they ever stop to think about what's motivating you and where you're spending your time? You're not out to get him. You're out to raise 8 kids. Mm-hmm. You're motivated by trying to stay afloat for your kids. You were up early and up late for your kids. I know.
You can hear it in my voice, and my eyes are like so tired. But I'm like, I think that's what bothered me so bad, is people are ripping me a new one too. Yeah, he got shredded, but there's plenty of comments about me. And I was like, man, like, this is so undeserved. I didn't do anything. I just loved him. I wanted him to succeed. I made him.
And then heaven forbid, when he walked away, you said something 3 years later.
Yeah, 3 years later.
Heaven forbid.
Right. Uh-huh.
Because
one woman said, you look stupid. And just because of one thing he did that hurt your feelings 15 years ago, and now you're out to punish the father of your children. And I was like, raging.
You have no idea, woman.
Yeah.
No idea.
The lengths that I have gone to, especially this last week, to provide when I'm receiving next to nothing from him. And I just say that because it's sporadic. It's $100 maybe here, maybe $1,000 there, or maybe it's a 5-month streak with nothing. I don't know when it's coming. I have no idea. So I don't count on it anymore.
Regardless, no, you can't count on it. And regardless, it's never enough. Like, you can't just, I think people have this image of you like sitting at home doing nothing and waiting for bills to be paid or something. It's like, there's not enough time in the day to do everything that you have to do. You work 24/7. Yeah. And so it's like, that whatever he gives you will never be enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've talked about on the podcast before that like the worst financial choice you can make is to get divorced. You're now splitting everything in half. So you've always known that you're going to have to work. But this level of being this destitute should not be a thing.
No.
And if you didn't have family and the church and these organizations that the community has organized and all of these things, like, I mean,
that's what's so maddening. Like I've said before, I have a 18-year gap in my resume.
Okay, this is another podcast. I don't know how long we've been talking.
I know, we need to stop this one.
But we've got to chat about your resume, because I think you're being subhuman. I think that you
I know. And Whitney says the same thing to me.
An amazing resume.
Here's my problem, and it's something I need to take up with God, because we've talked about this. I'm like, last week was so bad, and I was so overly tired and just mad and irritable and hurt that I was like, I cannot keep doing this. This is exhausting. I just should just go get a 9-to-5 job. I cannot do this anymore. But then I couldn't do 9 to 5. Because I still have kids that get home from school at 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone needs to be home for the 5 and 6-year-old. I can't pay a nanny or someone else. I mean, I'm paying to work.
Mm-hmm.
So pretend I'm working 5 hours a day at, I'm just going to say $20 an hour. That's $100 a day. That's $500 a week. But take away tithing, I'm at $450. Take away taxes, I'm at $300. So $300. That doesn't even include taking out any retirement. $300 for 20 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. Well, James says you're doing it backwards. We had a conversation about this too. And I was like, oh my gosh, James, you just are thinking you're taking 2 different sides of the equation. But this is what he says you should do. You should find the number, whatever the number is. What is the number that you need to survive for a year that you'd be happy with? Is it 70,000? Is it 100,000? It's 100, whatever it is. And then his idea is sales. He hates sales, but that's his personality. But I think you do amazing at it. And he's like, so you just you look for a job that's based, let's say it's $100,000. You look for and apply for jobs that are $100,000 base pay, and then you get the commission on top of that. And because he has a friend, and there's lots of people out there like this, that they headhunt, and you give them a resume, and you say, I can work these hours, and I have to have these, I have to be able to work from home from this time to this time or whatever, right?
See, but like as you talk, I'm already feeling anxiety because I still have the 9 loads of laundry, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know women are doing this all the time, but like that's what I've been doing part of the time while they're in school.
Yeah.
So put 5 or 6 hours in there of work. Like my mental health is going to go down the drain because then I'll do all the driving, their dinner, put them in bed, and then I will be.
So in your factoring, you have to factor what it would cost you to hire a high school kid to pay $15 an hour to do those things. I mean, we have people in our neighborhood who pay other high school kids to drive their kids places.
Yeah,
and
I had that too.
So you just have to factor that in, and then you tell this lady, hey, let me know when you have a job that comes up that fits this. There's online jobs that you could be changing laundry while you're working from home or whatever.
So the thing that I need to talk to God about is like, it hasn't felt good. It hasn't felt, but then I'm like, I don't get to have that privilege, the luxury of being like, that doesn't feel right to me.
Well, I think part of it is you don't have all your options yet. And part of it is the subhuman part of you that's like, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. It's the resume, right? You say, I have 18 years of gap. No, you don't. You ran his business the whole time. And you did everything from accounting to executive secretary to travel planning to whatever. I mean, you have a resume that is full.
I am good with efficiency and time management and those things.
And social media and all of these things that people need. And not to mention the fact that your soft skills are incredible. Most people are afraid to be on the phone. Most people can't have conversations with strangers. You'll call anybody and you'll talk to anybody anywhere.
Would you call it soft skills?
Soft skills, yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Look it up. It's like
soft
skills.
Huh.
So it's like interpersonal skills. It's what everybody's losing because they're all on their phones. And so they're not learning how to have interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
They're not learning to do things that secretaries would do or, whatever. Like they're not self-sufficient, or that's not even the right word. I'd have to define it. I actually have a friend who is starting a whole nonprofit all about it, helping kids learn soft skills.
Wow.
But to be able to
have a conversation,
to talk to people. Yeah.
Wow.
To ask a stranger to do, not like Ted Bundy stranger, but like to go up to somebody at the grocery store and say, can you help me with this item or
I totally
whatever?
Make my kids do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put them in these uncomfortable situations.
Yes. So you have a lot to offer people, but I think that you haven't allowed yourself to go there yet.
It's not so much allowed myself. I have not had the chance.
Well, it's both. You haven't had the chance, but you haven't had the healthy mental wellness part to allow yourself to see yourself from that light. Because you haven't had somebody reminding you how badass you are, how you're able to like shine in so many different places and that you have all of these skills. I mean, your attorneys want to hire you because you're such a good paralegal and you're not even a paralegal. Like, you have a lot of skills and you're smart.
I guess thank you. Those are like such nice compliments. Cause yeah, I don't hear it often. I think I hear it from my mom.
But it's true. That's the thing.
But part of me is like, you know, it hasn't felt like, okay, I need to jump on board and just get a job going. Because, right. I mean, I had 3 babies still at home when you left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next year I had 2 at home. Now I have 1 at home. So it's kind of been evolving and lessening and more getting into school. So the opportunity is becoming, you know, I had 2 in diapers still, you know?
That's wild.
So, but part of me wonders, like, do I focus on Gritty Mamas? Do I make that my selling point, my business?
I don't think it's an either or. I think it's an and.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that they'll come together. But I think that maybe it hasn't felt right because you haven't had the right opportunity. Mm-hmm. You haven't worked on your resume. You haven't talked to the right people. You haven't, like, it's just not right yet. But you keep working, you keep pushing forward, you keep looking because they are your kids. It is your job to take care of them, and you will. But you have to just keep wading through things. It's been interesting. We should really end this, but it's been interesting watching these gift bags come together for this event because between you and Whitney, I mean, Whitney has so many providers, and because of all of the different arenas that they're in here, they have a lot of different marketing and networking opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So when Whitney came up here after having a client today and she's like, I just worked on this person who wants to put this in the bag, you know, as she's working, she's networking.
Yeah.
And she's building, right? And that's what's going to happen with Gritty Mamas. That's what's going to happen with the job is you're going to be in the middle of, like Whitney, doing something, you're working on something, and that it's going to lead to another thing. It's going to introduce you to a person.
I hope it does. I just like,
it will.
I don't want to have the thought of selling pharmaceuticals, right? And having that be this full-time thing, and then Gritty Mamas would fall by the wayside. And I feel a duty or maybe obligation because of the connections and because of the following and because of all the food that's being delivered to me by BK Outreach and because of, you know, the sponsorships and the donations from people. I feel the duty to build this into something to help other women who have.
I just think you can do it at the same time, but it will be slower. The thing is it might not be at the same pace.
And maybe it makes no sense. That's where I'm struggling.
I just don't think it's the right balance yet. You haven't figured it out because it's not right the way it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean to stop. It doesn't mean that the podcast ends. It doesn't mean that you give up Gritty Mamas at all. It just means that something's not there yet, right?
Yeah.
But just like Mark talks about, like advancing the studio so the setup is easier, you know, like if we could just walk in here and record for an hour and then walk out, now 1/5 of the effort is expended and you can put that time into an actual job that pays you or whatever, right? Like things will progress and it will get better. Just like, I mean, one of the best pieces of advice that I got at a church function was from these people that like put a timeline on the board and they said, look back at your life and like put little like checks, like a timeline on big events and look at those events and see how things have unfolded. See how the Lord's hand has been in your life, right? And if you look at how this podcast has progressed, our relationship, our friendship has progressed. Like if you just look at the good things in your life, it's slow.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen over time, but you look back and you're like, oh, God's hand was in that. That was supposed to happen. You know, like I think that's part of the hard things in life. It's part of the charm of life. But like, it's not going to happen on your time. It's going to happen on God's time.
Yeah.
It's going to happen the way it's supposed to. I think you just keep moving forward and you see what comes, whether it's like, keep thinking about the jobs and what you could apply for and do that at the same time that you're still pursuing this. You don't give it up.
Because it has not been working.
No.
I cannot be doing month by month dog sitting and trying to sell the shipping containers. And because I have to put ads on Facebook. I have to buy the ads. I can't even afford to buy an ad.
Yeah.
You know, I just lay awake at night like, okay, how am I going to pay for Xander's tumbling this month? And then people will say, well, just set up a GoFundMe. We'd love to donate. I'm like, I've done 3.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I can ask again. You know, that's why part of the reason I'm like, if I go to jail, then somebody would set up some GoFundMe to help me pay for my attorneys. Like, that's where my mind has gone.
I know. It's like,
it's crazy. I've gone crazy.
I just think it's desperation.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
And I think it's unfairness.
And then that's what makes me so angry, because I think about him, to round this all out, with the time and the leisure of dressing up and going downtown and singing a couple songs.
You can't even think about dating, let alone getting on Mutual and having these conversations and relationships with people. And it's just not fair.
It's not fair. And life isn't fair.
No, and my dad would say, life's not fair. It's not meant to be. And it's not my job to make it that way. It's true.
My mom would say, life's not fair. And then you die.
It's true. But that doesn't mean that you quit fighting for what, I don't want to say what you deserve, because I hate the word deserve, but you keep fighting for what you know is right.
Yeah.
And
what I know is right is to speak up. And people don't like that. It makes them uncomfortable. Because just like my kids don't want to tell people what he's done, like, for example, India was in the car driving home from school, and the friends were playing his Lemonade song. And she was just like, oh my gosh. And they're like, this is your dad. She didn't have the courage, or didn't want to say, actually, he's left. Because she doesn't want them to be disappointed in someone who they are fans of.
Yeah, that actually has been interesting. When I'll say, oh, I got to go, I'm going to go podcast tonight or whatever. And like, you podcast? What are you doing? I'm like, I have to explain the whole situation.
Yeah.
And they'll say, that was such a huge disappointment to me, to find out what was really happening there, to think that you're this multiracial couple.
The power couple.
And all these beautiful children and these talents.
It is disappointing. It is. And so it's like my kids, and even myself, because people will be like crushed. Actually, he's not married. He's gone. He left us. And they'll be like, oh, but I love, so they don't want to hear that.
No.
They want to still see him as the token Black person representing the Mormons. And Mormons are proud to have him, right? Because he's active and singing about, was in the Tabernacle Choir, and he's a different skin color, but he's still, a wonderful member of the church, but he's dumped his family.
Which is like what the church stands for.
So you're out there preaching about Joseph Smith and singing these songs, which just comes across as so hypocritical when you are trying to further the gospel, which is not a bad thing, but when you're not living it, it just makes zero. And my kids are confused. It's just like, what
it's
is
so
happening?
Confusing. And I think I'm sitting here thinking about how I've been watching a lot of the coverage about, like, I don't know if you know who Baron Coleman is, but he's my new favorite. He's so, he's a pretty central, not super liberal, not super conservative. He took Trump's picture off as well, which I think is hilarious. But anyway, I really like Baron Coleman. But as I've been listening to coverage of trying to figure out what happened to Charlie Kirk, all this stuff, the more you look into our government, and the more you look into anybody that like is famous, the more you see that nothing is real.
Yeah.
We've been lied to by so many people for so long. Nobody trusts anybody. Nobody can believe anybody. And I think that's the saddest part of your story, is that people could not believe you. Mm-hmm. That, they see this performer, and they're going to believe the person who...
And somebody was like, oh, he's the nicest. It's the same typical, he's the nicest guy.
That's why I feel like I always want to give people room for growth. I always hope that, you pray for your enemies and those who despitefully use you, right? Like, I don't want to see anything awful happen to the father of your children. But to not believe you, and to believe the professional paid actor whose entire career it is to lie to people. That's what performers do. That's how they get their jobs. That's how they keep their jobs. They're performers.
Well, and he's also been telling people that I left him. So I'm like, what the heck? I've heard it from multiple people.
How do you leave somebody when you haven't gone anywhere?
I know. It makes no sense. Or he'll say, it's all lies. It's all lies. Everything she says is all lies. So
I just, okay.
I know. We're tired. It's now 11:20. Thank you guys for listening. Give us your comments. one of these days we will be able to come in here refreshed at 2:00 on a weekday.
I mean, you've got till August. I've got a whole extra year till.
Yes.
We're
all in.
I want to say
full-time
empty
school.
nesters. That's not
my
not the
gosh.
right word, but they get what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
In full-time school, which then I feel bad saying, because then I'm like, it's not that I don't love my kids. It's not that, like, there's so many people that homeschool.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
That's so true. And I just need somebody to, like, back me up. You know,
Yes.
like when you teach your kids something and then they go to school and their teacher's like, we don't do this. That's not nice. It's like, see, I'm not the crazy one.
That's right.
So anyway,
All
school's
right,
good.
you guys. We will see you next week, hopefully. Don't be mad if you don't get a podcast next week.
We've
It's
had
kind of hard.
We've had a hard time getting all the things, not just recorded, but then edited and all the things. It's getting kind of tricky. So the 5 a.m. on Monday has been a little rough to get to. But
Yeah.
I mean, today's aired later in the day, but it aired.
It did.
So
It
hang
did.
tight. They're coming.
Yep,
We're trying to
and
keep it
like
going.
and subscribe. Yes. And I'm trying to, I was like on chat, like, how do I pay off this bill? My attorneys. So we're looking for sponsors for the podcast, sponsors
yeah.
for the event. And we never turn down money. So
I mean,
right.
as long as it's legal.
yeah. Okay, you guys, we'll see you next time.
So now
Bye.
you know what it means to be gritty. It can be dirty, but you're still so pretty. Now make a pledge and never take no pity. Baby, welcome